riding your bike through, I don't know, how many states in the United States to raise awareness for something that is really, really an epidemic in this country. Joining us now, she's in our virtual green room. She's not on the bike yet, but Danielle Giordano joins us, and she's doing exactly that. Danielle, thanks so much for popping on America Tonight. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
So, first of all, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the fact that childhood obesity is an epidemic, right? And the idea is you're really, really trying to raise awareness for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the link between childhood obesity and bullying within schools of children, especially within high school, and also trickles over into college, but especially in high school, is undeniable. And the fact that basically, America has a sugar addiction, we have a processed food addiction, we have a genetically modified ingredient or genetically modified food addiction. All of these things are leading to an epidemic, and it's an epidemic that's only getting larger and is absolutely preventable. And knowledge is power, and my goal is to be a facilitation of knowledge and to reach as many people as possible on this tour and equip them so that they can make positive changes in their life.
Okay, so you have this idea of doing the tour, and tell us how you set about laying it out.
Well, back in 2010, I got my first cycling world record, and, it was kind of always gnawing on me to do something. And I had found out about the Route 66, and Route 66, Chicago to the Santa Monica Pier. We go through Chicago, St. Louis, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Albuquerque, Flagstaff, Barstow, and then, of course, on to LA and Santa Monica. And, I think going down through the Midwest, it said a lot. When you look at the obesity rates, I think as you go further west, when you look at Native Americans and the epidemic of obesity that those children are coming up and facing, which is something that culture has never really faced before, and on into those more western states where I think people have this assumption that just because somebody's from California, they're, super healthy and eat wheatgrass all the time. And that's just not the case. And I found out that there was a woman in 2010, ironically, same year as me, who set the new world record, and it was a German athlete named Iris Klein. And I thought, what a greater way to show that you can come full circle than doing a route, one, that's on the heels of the Olympics. How cool is that? Let's bring a record back to the U.S. But two, the amount of headwind that you have virtually the entire way, from 15 to 30 miles an hour. The fact that you have a 40% more hill incline going east to west. And just the length and the road conditions really is the key to this route. It breaks you down. It breaks your body down. And I thought, what better way to show that you can come full circle? I was morbidly obese. I was an obese child. I basically had a doctor say I wasn't going to live to see my mid-30s unless I changed my life. And to go from, almost 400 pounds and morbidly obese to a world-class athlete, I hope to be that living example.
Yeah, and so at that, I can see absolutely what fuels you, and thank goodness there's people like you trying to really wave your arms and raise that awareness. But since you really lived it, there's no doubt, and I don't have to tell you this, and for all the people listening to us across the country, that you are a catalyst for that change, because there are kids, there are people, adults, parents, etc., that can see your story, hear your story. How did you do it? What was it, with the doctor saying that you wouldn't make it? Was that what just triggered it into you? I need to do something different. I need to learn about food. I need to figure out how to do this?
Well, basically, yeah. When you're in your 20s, thinking about death or your own morality it's just not something that you think about. And then, when you're hit in the face with that, and basically when I started, it was move more, eat less. I knew nothing about nutrition. I knew nothing about fitness. And, it really took me a lot of courage to finally get to a gym. When I first started, it was really kind of on my own, got the first 100 pounds or so off, and then had a very bad experience at a big box club. And I said, hey, I'm going to learn this myself. And I started taking classes at the Cooper Institute in Dallas, Texas. And now I'm a certified master trainer, 24 certifying credentials in nutrition and fitness. And hopefully we'll have my second world record in a few weeks here.
I love it. I love the way you laid this out. Just absolutely brilliant. Tell us about the cycling world record. If we wind the clock back here, what happened there? Was cycling one of the things that you did to pull the weight off?
Yeah, you know what? And I'll make this brief, but it's a funny story. When I first started, going to this big box gym, there was a spin instructor, and he was always trying to get people to come into his classes, and I was always embarrassed, and that's just the bottom line. I was just embarrassed to sit and just the way my body composition was. And he finally convinced me to come in, and that very first class, all I could do was just sit. I mean, I couldn't even stand. I couldn't go, very high resistance, anything like that. And slowly I started, it just became my regular thing. And I did it 2 days a week, then 3 days a week, then 4 days a week, and then I did it all 5 days a week. And I went into him the one day, and I said, I'm going to ride my bike across the country. And he goes, oh, okay. And I go, no, really, I'm going to come in here Thursday, and I'm going to have a route. And he's like, okay, now you have to imagine now I'm still like 270-ish, 285, so somewhere around in there. And so I came in with the Prairie Spirit Trail, which was the ride I did in 2010. And that was from the tip of Canada down to Texas. But once you get in Iowa, you basically start zigging and zagging east and west. Total project miles was 6,400, and I beat the fastest man by 3 days, just as a side note, in 2010. And so I came in with this Prairie Spirit Trail, and he's like, okay, Danielle, now I believe you can do anything, but... And I'm like, no, really, I'm going to do this. And he's like, okay, so when do you want to do this? And this is like, I don't know, October, I think it was. I said, I'm going to do it next summer. And he goes, it's not Danielle. No, wait. People train for years to do this. You can't just, okay, wait. And I said, if you will coach me on the side, and if I come in and I give you my very best every day, give me a month. And if you really don't think I can make it, we'll call it a wash. And, the rest is kind of history. He did end up taking me underneath his wing. And, we did it. we started off in August and finished on September 12th.
That is awesome. So now if people want, I love that story. So if people want to check in and know, we're going to check in with you along Route 66, but how else besides America Tonight and me speaking with you and getting the skinny on what people are saying to you and what that's been like, how else can people check in with your progress?
Well, I suggest that they go to the website. It's highway4health.org, so highway forhealth.org. We have a YouTube channel that you can link to from there. We're going to be putting updates on there.
Cool.
The video is kind of cool. They're going to be short. They're going to recap. And then on La Femme's radio network, I'm also going to be doing kind of a recap show with them every week. But it's basically going to be little snippets from each day that we kind of all put together to tell the story for the week, kind of a thing. And and then along the way, we're going to be making a lot of stops. We're working with first responders all across the country with First Responders for Fitness. We're going to be making stops at schools, trying to work with PTAs, trying to work with youth groups, community centers, that type of thing. So hopefully if they Google me at any point during the next several weeks, they'll see some TV or newspaper or blogs or something pop up. So
is because you're making those stops along the way, which of course completely makes sense. Every day must be different and every piece of the journey must be different. But what's the average amount of miles that you'll try to cover, I guess, per week?
Well, per week, you could be going from the plains to the mountains. We go through 5 really high elevation points.
Wow.
Especially near Flagstaff when we get near the Grand Canyon. Basically from Amarillo west, we hit the major mountains. But Missouri isn't exactly flat either. So, I want to hit somewhere between 80 and 125 every day. That's kind of my goal. But, we're looking at the wind and weather reports. The winds are going to be extra strong as we get into basically the second week after we start. And then we're going to hit a lot of rain after the first 2 weeks. And so, I rode in the rain last time. and I rode against the jet stream last time as well in 2010. So, I'm just going to go out there and give it my best shot. And some days I might be on the bike for 20 hours. Some days I might only be on for 8 or 9. So we'll just have to see how it kind of plays out. But we're going to have a really great send-off in Chicago. I didn't mention that before, but we're going to have a huge send-off with the Police and Fire National Cycling Team, with the Chicago Fire Department and Chicago Police Department. We're basically going to shut down Adams Street and get everything started on Route 66. And so it should be quite a spectacle on Sunday morning at 6 o'clock. So.
I love it. Danielle Jordana, wow, what an inspiration. Everybody will follow you along in America Tonight. I'll have updates. You can also go to highwayforhealth.org. Congratulations on really owning this issue and trying to get people to pay attention. And we appreciate you spending time with us here on America Tonight.
Well, and I appreciate you having on and always doing something to make the world a better place is why I believe we're all here. And that's all I'm trying to do. And I hope we'll see you at the Triumph Party on November 6th back in Dallas. If you can come, Kate, I'll get you some tickets over.
Woohoo! All right, I'm there. I'm there to support you, definitely. Danielle, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kate.